You open your eyes. Something feels wrong. The air burns your lungs. Your hands are freezing. You sit up and immediately realize you're not in your bedroom anymore. The city is gone. The roads are gone. The power lines are gone. Everything is gone. In every direction, nothing but ice, snow, and endless wilderness. Somehow, you've traveled back in time. Not hundreds of years, not thousands, tens of thousands. You're in the Ice Age, and unless you act quickly, you may not survive the day. Your first problem isn't food. It isn't predators, and it isn't shelter. It's temperature. During the last ice age, massive ice sheets covered huge parts of the planet. Some were over a mile thick. Entire regions were buried beneath ice. Winters were brutal, summers were short, and you are wearing modern clothes. Maybe a hoodie, maybe jeans, maybe a t-shirt. None of that was designed for this world. Your body immediately starts losing heat. Fast, much faster than you think. Hypothermia can begin surprisingly quickly, especially with wind, and there's plenty of wind. So what do? You need shelter immediately. The problem is, you have no house, no tent, no sleeping bag, no heater, no phone, no internet, no YouTube survival tutorial. Everything you rely on is gone, which means you need to think like a prehistoric human. Find natural protection, a cave, a rock overhang, dense trees, anything that blocks wind, because the wind is your enemy. Every minute exposed, and your chances get worse. Let's assume you survived the first night. Congratulations. Now comes the next problem. Water. That sounds ridiculous. You're surrounded by ice. But ice isn't automatically drinking water. Eating ice lowers your body temperature, which can actually make survival harder. You need liquid water, which means you need fire. And that's where things get interesting. Because most people today have never made a fire without tools. No lighter, no matches, no gas station, no convenience store. Just sticks, rocks, and cold fingers. Suddenly, every survival show you've ever watched doesn't seem so easy. But let's imagine you succeed. You find water. You build a fire. You're warming up. You begin to feel hopeful. Then you hear something. A sound. Deep. Heavy. Slow. You turn around, and standing in the distance is an animal you've only seen in museums. A woolly mammoth, nearly 13 feet tall, covered in thick fur, carrying tusks longer than many people are tall. It's enormous, and somehow it's not the scariest thing out there. Because mammoths weren't predators. They weren't hunting you. Other animals were. Dire wolves, cave lions, saber-toothed cats. Massive predators adapted to this world. A world you know almost nothing about. And the longer you stay, the more dangerous things become. Because eventually, you're gonna get hungry. Very hungry. And that's where modern humans face a serious problem. Most of us have never hunted anything. We buy food. We order food. We microwave food. But the Ice Age doesn't care. If you don't find calories, you die. Simple as that. At first, you might look for berries, plants, nuts, anything edible. The problem? Food is scarce. Extremely scarce. Entire ecosystems are different. Many plants you're familiar with don't exist. Others are seasonal, and some can kill you. Suddenly, every berry becomes a gamble. Maybe hunting sounds easier. After all, humans hunted mammoths, right? Sure, but those humans weren't you. They spent their entire lives learning survival, tracking animals, reading footprints, making weapons, working in groups. You have none of that. You don't even have a spear. And even if you did, a mammoth can weigh 6 tons. That's more than a pickup truck. Then another thought hits you. Maybe you should find people, other humans. Surely they'll help, right? Maybe, maybe not. Remember, you look strange, you talk strangely, your clothes are strange, everything about you is strange. To them, you might be dangerous, you might be crazy, you might be an enemy. First impressions suddenly matter a lot. But let's say they don't attack. Let's say they let you stay. You still face another problem: knowledge. You know a lot of things, or at least you think you do. You know about electricity, airplanes, computers, satellites, the internet, modern medicine. But can you build any of those? Right now? By yourself? Probably not. This is one of the strangest realizations. Modern humans know incredible things, yet most of us depend entirely on civilization. Civilization makes our knowledge useful. Without it, much of that knowledge becomes surprisingly powerless. You know what a smartphone is, but you can't build one. You know what antibiotics are, but you can't manufacture them. You know what electricity is, but you can't create a power grid. Suddenly, you're not nearly as advanced as you thought. Then comes sickness, a small cut, a bad infection, a simple fever. Today, these are inconveniences. Back then, they could be death sentences. There are no hospitals, no pharmacies, no emergency rooms, no antibiotics. Survival becomes a daily battle. So could you actually survive? For a week? Maybe. For a month? Possibly. For a year? That's much harder. Not because you're weak, not because you're unintelligent, but because the Ice Age was built for people who grew up there. Every skill they had was earned through experience. Experience you don't have. And that's the surprising lesson. We often imagine ourselves as advanced, superior, smarter than the people who lived thousands of years ago. But if you woke up during the Ice Age tomorrow, they would probably survive, and you probably wouldn't. Because intelligence isn't just knowledge, it's adaptation, and nobody adapted to that world better than they did. Because the past was not a simpler time, it was a harder one.